From time memorial, it has been known that there are four great commitments that shape a person's life and their future, and that give an individual a sense of fulfillment in life and a sense of happiness. Those four great commitments are the one of family, specifically the person in whom you choose to marry, community, the individual you surround yourself, a career, or sometimes called a vocation, and the faith or a philosophy or worldview in which you choose to live by. And with these four things, often they sometimes are in conflict with each other. And the two that are often most in conflict in each other, especially in these times that we live in, which are so unique and are so complex when you look at basically the existence of mankind historically. It's the one of marriage, which is the family aspect, and career. They are often in conflict with each other. And I read some fascinating research that shows that typically the success order that people actually engage in actually being committing to these four areas is typically that people go to school, they then get a career job, then they get married, then they get children. Research has shown that it's actually taking this process is commonly leads to success and fulfillment in life by many. And this is the order in which I have chosen in my life. And then I made a decision that the 20s will be the time where I'll focus primarily on school and a career. Then in my 30s, I'll get married. And I'm about to enter very soon into that stage in life. And from my experience and from my research, what I've learned that the 20s are a time of self-discovery, discovery in general, and they are a time of exploration. Because normally when you're younger, most of who you are is shaped by your family, and then teenagerhood is shaped by your friends and the people that you normally associate with. So your 20s, they give you a set of understanding of self, which is a prerequisite in actually being able to choose the right person to marry, and also an understanding of the world, which is essential for you to actually find the right career path, which will actually shape your life, as I mentioned, about the four commitments that you actually have that actually shape your life. So the 20s is when it's a time where you acquire a certain skill set, it's a time where you acquire assets, but also it's a time where you explore different types of career paths in order for you to find your niche, to find that thing that actually is able to fulfill you in the greatest sense. But the issue is that with the career and with marriage, there will come a time where they cross over. And in fact, even when you are pursuing a career, you're in a relationship. And anyone who's in both recognizes that both careers and relationship, they demand time and they also demand finances. Even so, more so the romantic relationships. So the time factor is very big, and these demand a lot of time. And finances, they demand a lot of finances, even though we know that marriage doesn't have financial remuneration in any sense. Actually, that's where you actually spend money. So the 20s is a nice stage for an individual, I feel, to actually input more in the time in their career. Yes, have relationships, but in terms of a marriage, it demands a lot of time from what we've all seen. And also finances, especially when you have a certain version of family, like when you want an apartment and house where you don't want your wife to be burdened by the finances, where you believe you're actual provider. You actually try as a man in your 20s to actually develop the conditions that are necessary. gets married because of biology. They feel like, oh, it's time I should have children by now because the clock is going. Whereas a man, typically, if they want to walk according to the success order, we look at the finances. Am I financially ready? But you also look at our leadership skill. Do I have the maturity? And have I learned responsibility enough? Have I learned have I become independent from my family enough in order for me to be interdependent and be responsible for actually someone else? So it's the goals, the visions, the skills, time and finances that all play a role in actually determining when you engage in what. And from my understanding and from my reflection, career first, then there's a certain point where you get married and you learn to balance both in your life, especially when you want to be a certain type of father. Let's say I want to be financially secure, not necessarily financially free enough for me to actually spend enough time with my family, because honestly, finances do determine freedom in our times.